Okay, page 115. That's where we're going today for grammar. 115. It's a little bright. Let me see. There we go. 115. So even though at the top it says learn it, you guys already know this, but we're going to learn some differences between these two things here. So the first part of speech we're going to talk about today is the adverb clause. You already know that with www.asia.b. Does anybody remember those words without looking? Can you remember what www.asia.b? Okay, Harmony, let me hear you. What are those words? www.asia.b. Remember what they stand for?
When, while, where, as, since, if, although, because.
Excellent. You're right. We know those, and you guys have already been using them in your writing too. And you've been finding them in this grammar book. So those are familiar. Well, now there's a new list that we're going to add to that. This one doesn't have an acronym like www.asia. These are just showing you the words here. So the next set of words says after, before, until, unless, whenever, whereas, and than. These are now part of the adverb clause words. So if you have a post-it note near you, this is a good page to mark. I have mine here. So you're going to take off a post-it if you have one. If you don't have one, you can do this later. Stick it with the sticky part down at the bottom, and then at the top where it's loose, I want you to write adverb clause. We already know the www.asia, but these are extra. And if you mark it with one of these, then when you're doing your homework, you can go back to that page and check these extra words now that we're going to add to the adverb clause list. Okay, so that's how you do it. You stick it, so stick it up above there. You're still going to mark it with parentheses like we normally do for an adverb clause, and you're going to write AC, which stands for adverb clause. So look at the example in the middle of your page right here. It says the stranger would cross unless Robin stopped him. So notice the word unless is one of our new adverb clause words now here. Okay, so unless is going to tell us this is the beginning of the adverb clause and it's going to go all the way to the end of the sentence. You're still going to label it AC. And remember, clauses have subject verb pair inside. So Robin and stopped, that's the subject verb pair here. Here at this part of the page, it talks about adverb clause or prepositional phrase because English is already hard. You know that. It's hard to learn all the rules. Well, then we've got words that are in the same words are in two different lists here. That makes it even harder. So notice all these words here we already know: when, while, where, as, since, if, although, because, after, before, until, unless, whenever, whereas, and than. Those are the adverb words, adverb clauses. That's the beginning of the adverb clause. Notice how some of the words are darker in bold. That's because those same exact words are also in this list. And this is the prepositional phrase list. These are all prepositions, and they usually begin a prepositional phrase. So notice after is dark. That's because after is here too on both lists. And then you see before and until and as. Those are the same in both lists. Notice because up here in the adverb clause list and then in the prepositional phrase list, it's because of. I wanted to make sure to point that out to you because as a clause, you don't have the word of with it. And that's what we use in our dress up. For our writing, we have a because clause on our dress up. And that's when you use just because, not because of. Because it's hard to explain this without using the word because. But anyway, if you use because of, That's a prepositional phrase. That's the beginning of a prepositional phrase. Okay, so I wanted to point that out to you. But the way to tell the difference between the two, how it's used in the sentence, you have to look at the rest of the words around it. So here are the rules down at the bottom about these two different things, the adverb clause and the prepositional phrase, because there's two patterns to look for. Look right here where it says adverb clause. Here's an example. Before they met, Robin won every fight. Before they met is an adverb clause. And here's the pattern. WWW word. Before is on that list now. Remember, it's up here. Before. Plus the subject they, plus the verb met. So notice the adverb clause has both subject and verb. Now look at the example of the prepositional phrase. Before the fight, Robin was undefeated. Before the fight is a prepositional phrase. It starts with the preposition before, even though that's the same as that one, before, before. This one says before the fight. It's a prepositional phrase because here's the pattern. Look at the very, very bottom of the page. The pattern for a prepositional phrase is preposition, before, plus noun, fight, no verb. Even though you might go, but wait a second, Mrs. C, fight is a verb, right? Well, not in that sentence, but if you have it like the cat will fight the dog, that is a verb. That's true. But in this sentence, the way it's used here, the fight, that means it's a noun. So the difference between the two is, does it have a verb next to it? Then that means it's probably an adverb clause. If it does not have a verb next to it, that means it's probably a prepositional phrase. So you're going to look for that verb. That's going to be your clue. And of course, as always, they're going to try to trick you in this grammar book. So pay attention to these words, and you can come back to this page to help you figure that out. Okay? That's the lesson for today. So let's go ahead and turn to the practice page. And then Christian, go ahead and read the sentence for us today.
After an hour, neither had budged an inch. Both stood where they had begun.
Okay, good. That word budged just means to move really, really slightly, just a little move. But it says neither had budged, which means they stayed really still. Okay, that's the vocabulary word. And there's already two articles in here, a, an, and the. So go ahead and find the two articles by yourself. All right, and then Grayson, what about the nouns?
Hour and inch.
Good. Hour and inch. And then pronouns, Harmony? They're a little tricky in this one.
Neither.
Did you say
Neither.
neither? Good. That's one.
Both.
Good. That's another one. And there's one more.
They.
Good. Excellent. Okay. Before we get into the clauses, I like to find those subject verb pairs because, like I just explained in the lesson today, those clauses have subject verb pairs, so it'll help us break it up a little bit. So, Christian, I'm going to have you find the verbs. Where are the verbs here?
Had, budged, had, begun, stood.
Good. That was quick. You're right. That's all of them. So, how about Grayson? I know that was a lot to write down really quick. Who did these things? So, who had budged?
Neither.
Good. Next one.
Both.
Good. Both.
They.
And they. Good. So neither had budged. Those go together. Both stood. That goes together. And they had begun. That goes together too. That helps us now. So remember that when you're doing your homework. Jump down to that subject verb, and then that'll help you find the clauses. So how about the adverb clause, Harmony? Where's that one?
Read it to her. Where they had begun.
Nice, good. Yes, that is the adverb clause, AC. And that one has where, which is one we've been working with, so it's not one of the new words. But just remember, you can go back to that page if it's one that you don't recognize there. And then the main clauses, Christian, where are those?
Both stood
That's one.
after an hour.
No, because that's
Neither had budged an inch.
yeah, that's the opener right here. And if you ever get stuck on that, you can do the prepositional phrase part next. But yeah, you're right. Neither had budged an inch is one main clause, and both stood is the other main clause. And then Grayson, what about that prepositional phrase?
After an hour.
Yes, that's right. After an hour. So that's what it starts with. So what kind of an opener? Oh, before we do openers, we have two end marks here. We know the end has a period. Excuse me for coughing. I had a little cough this morning, so where does the second end mark go, Harmony? Where else do we need a period? We need one at the end, but somewhere else we need to put a period. You know where that goes?
Or what?
Anyone. Okay.
Where? What word though?
Inch.
After teller?
Yes.
Inch.
Yes, I heard that. So there's a comma there right now. So we're going to take that comma out, do a little squiggly line, and then we're going to put a period after inch. The period goes after inch. So now we have two sentences. So Christian, what are the two openers?
3 for after the prepositional opener, and then 1 for the subject opener. And
Good. Except for 3 is not
I meant 2, not 3.
2. Yeah. 2 for this one. This is
3 is
prepositional.
adverb opener, like
Yeah.
adverb opener.
Yes. Prepositional. And this is a number 1 subject. You're right about that. Good. And then indent, we're just going to do a paragraph symbol here at the very beginning. And then we already fixed the comma, and the two capitals are the beginnings of those sentences here. And there we go. Awesome. Nice job, you guys. All right. Any questions about any of the grammar stuff we talked about today? No? Okay. Go ahead and put that away. And get out your binders next. You guys finished up your report on coconut crabs. Man, those guys were kind of creepy, kind of cool and creepy at the same time, but I'm just going to leave this as an option. Does anybody want to read your paragraphs about the coconut crabs today? You can read it to the class if you want. Anybody feel like reading it? Grayson said no. You want to read yours, Christian? How about Harmony? Do you want to read yours today? Yeah? You can read yours if you want, whenever you're ready.
Coconut crabs are the largest land crustacean.
Mhm.
Surprisingly, coconut crabs are the size of a dog,
Okay.
a small dog. They can weigh 9 pounds, and their legs span 3 feet. The coconut crab, who has 10 multi-jointed legs, also has 2 frightening pincers. Although the creature has bright colors and is easy to spot, it is an excellent hunter because of its sense and smell of
Sense.
smell. Coconut crabs are very unusual creatures.
Thanks.
Coconut crabs munch on plants and meat. They chomp on fleshy fruits and animals. They are amazing scavengers who smell to detect prey. They even consume smaller and younger coconut crabs because of their sense of smell. Coconut crabs carry things into their burrow. Coconut crabs can easily lift 60 pounds and hold on as they climb trees. Their nickname is the rubber crab.
Nice. Okay, guys, you know what to do in the camera for her. Come on, Christian. Woohoo, it was good. I loved it. Another thing we do is that react on your Zoom. You can send a reaction with an effect like this. You guys probably know how to do that. If you click that little heart on your react. Good job, Harmony. I loved it. I heard all kinds of great dress ups in there. I heard your sentence openers and lots of really, really good facts that you found about coconut crabs. I really liked it. Good job, Harmony. It was good. Very well done. Those are interesting creatures. I mean, I'm glad we don't have them in California because I think that would be a little scary if you're on the beach, playing in the water and all of a sudden you see this giant crab coming after you. So, anyway, I see that Zach's here. Good morning, Zach. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. My internet's really bad right now, so I can't turn my camera on, but I'm here.
Okay. As long as you can hear me and see what we're doing, that's fine. We already did grammar, so you can watch the recording later for that. So the rest of you can put away your coconut crabs. This one, the yellow page, goes behind model charts and outlines in your binders, in your writing binders. This one goes in a certain spot there behind model charts and outlines. And then the rest of the stuff can go away in your finished binder or your finished folder, unless you're still working on it. If you haven't finished your coconut crabs report yet, keep it in your front pocket until you're all the way finished with it. And then we're going to move on to the next week, which is week 14. And just when you thought you learned about the weirdest creature, this one's even weirder. Just saying. It's called troglobites. Troglobites. And there's a bunch of pages you're going to get out. I think it's 7 pages actually. So it's a lot. Week 14 is long. It's got a lot of articles with it. So go ahead and get out week 14 called Troglobites. You will also need another piece of white paper in the back of your binder. So hopefully you still have some back there, that big white sheet. We're going to use that again this week. So once you get out week 14 troglobites, Go ahead and get out the big white page and give me a thumbs up when you have everything out and ready to go. Good. I see that, Harmony. Good. Grayson. Okay, good. All right, we're going to start with setting up our white page, and then we'll get into what these troglodytes really are. So you guys remember how to do this. I'll take this off so you can see me better. You're going to take it wide like this, and I call this the taco fold, where it's long, wide, and skinny here, like this. So fold it that way first, like a taco. Like a giant taco, but don't eat it. Okay. And then after that fold, you're going to fold it into thirds. And that means you're going to you're laid down and go past the middle. And then the other side goes on top of that. Remember? So you end up with a square actually. So let me fold it and then I'll show you. Folding it into thirds, so you end up with a square like this. Okay, so let me show you again. When you fold it, lay it flat, you're going to go past the middle a little bit, and then the other side on top of that. So you end up with a square. Oh, did you run out of the big paper?
No, I'm still using the this paper, but it didn't give me an issue last time, so
It didn't give you what?
an issue.
Oh, is that like regular printer size paper?
It's bigger than that. It's just not as big as yours, but
Okay. As
it's
long as
it's
your goal is to have like 6 squares on there. It looks like you folded it a little too small, maybe. When you open it, how many squares do you see there? Oh, okay. Then you got it. I'm glad it didn't give you an issue, so you'll have to write kind of small. After you guys fold it, open it up again, and you'll see you have to ignore that middle crease, but you'll see six squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And we're going to start setting up the keyword outline on here. We are going to have 3 articles again. So we're going to use A, B, and C. So the one on the left is going to be A with a box. The one in the middle is going to be B with a box. And C with a box. Okay. Those are the 3 articles we have for troglodytes. This is the first paragraph you're going to work on for troglodytes. So we're going to call this Roman numeral 1 under the A, and then it's going to go 1 through 5. Spread them out so they're not too close, so you have room. 4 and 5 are going to have parentheses like that, and you know that means it's optional. You have to find at least 3 facts, but you can use 4 and 5 if you need them. And we're going to do this same outline for A and B and C. They're all going to be Roman numeral 1 because this is your first paragraph. Try to line everything up. Don't go too fast here because you want it to be nice and neat. And then under B in the middle at the bottom, fused outline. And this one's going to be 1 through 7. So Roman numeral 1 and then go all the way to 7. 7 is going to be in parentheses in case you need it. And then that word clincher. Okay, they all have 1 through 5 on A, B, and C, and then on the fused it's 1 through 7. Okay, I see that. Good. One more thing under C over here is possible topics. This is where we're going to make a list of the possible topics you're going to choose from about troglodytes. When you got all that set up, give me a thumbs up. Okay, good, good. Okay, good. Everybody's ready. Nice. You guys are getting quick at that. That's really good. All right. So troglobites, has anybody heard of those before? Thumbs up if you've heard of a troglobite before. I didn't before I read this chapter. So a troglobite is a creature that lives in caves, and I'm not going to give away too much because it's kind of cool to read about those. So we've got 3 different articles here. Let's start with the first one. The first one is on page 129. And because you probably saw when you were taking all this out, there's a lot of information here. So anytime you're doing a research paper like this and you have a lot of information to look at, the best thing to do is skim. And I know we talked about that when we did coconut crabs. We're going to skim again for this, which means we're going to read the first sentence only of each paragraph. And then inside that paragraph, this is a skill and it takes some practice. So some students pick it up really quick. And some students have to do it a few times in order to really understand how to do it. But basically, you kind of let your eyes go, meaning don't read every single word. You're going to just kind of float along, kind of, with your eyes, and then pick out some keywords here and there, just so you can get a feel for what the paragraph is mostly about. So I'll do the first one with you, and we're not going to underline anything yet. We're only just kind of glancing at this to get a feel for what these paragraphs are about. And then we're going to take some notes in the margin. So the first sentence here says, animals that have completely adapted to life in unending subterranean darkness are known as troglobites. Okay, so already I hear darkness. So interesting creatures. They live in the dark. And now I'm going to let my eyes go. So I'm just going to kind of scan along. I see single cave. I see remain there to exist. Cave again. Odd creatures. Total blackness. Underdeveloped eyes. No eyes at all. Whitish, sickly pinkish. Wash from outside, bacteria, fungi, droppings, troglobites, metabolisms, 1,000 species. See how I just kept going until maybe a big word stands out to me and then I just say that word. Okay, it's random. It's totally random. But I know this is kind of introducing troglobites. This paragraph is introducing what they are and a little bit about their bodies. We heard about their eyes a little bit and maybe what they eat. So I'm going to say this is kind of more like an introduction to what these animals are. I'm going to call this general. It's more general information about troglobites. So in the margin here, turn it, and we're just going to write that word general in the margin here, general. Let me turn this light off. There we go. It's general information, not telling anything really super specific yet. That word general just means is like generalized, okay, about troglobites. So I'm going to have Christian work on the next paragraph here. Just read the first sentence and then kind of skim through and pick out some keywords and then help us decide what this paragraph is mostly about. You're muted though, so unmute yourself real quick.
One fish that is adapted to a troglobitic
Troglobitic, yep, there you go.
is the waterfall climbing cave fish. This creature, waterfall climbing
Okay.
cave.
Yeah. So try to kind of glance through, let your eyes go a little bit and pick out some keywords in there. You can read them out loud. Go ahead and say the keywords out loud so we can kind of hear what you're seeing there.
8 caves, Thailand.
Mm-hmm.
No eyes.
Yeah.
Colorless.
Okay.
scales,
Good.
water breathing fish,
Okay. Did you kind of notice that water climbing cave fish is in there a couple of times? Waterfall climbing cave fish, I mean. I see it a couple times. I see it here. I see it down here.
it's the name of the fish.
Yeah, so that is the one they're talking about. You're right. This is the fish that it's talking about. So what I want you guys to do is right here at the first sentence where it introduces it, my marker is running out of ink here, but circle water climbing cave fish. That is what this paragraph is mostly about. Instead of writing all of that, we're going to initial this. So it'll be WCCF for waterfall climbing cave fish, like that. WCF on the margin here. Okay. So now we're getting into more specifics about specific troglobites. This is the first one, the waterfall climbing cave fish. So we circled it just so we can remember what that initial stands for. Okay, good job, Christian. How about Grayson? Let's turn it over to the back and I'll have you do this one on the back. Read the first sentence only and then try to pick out some keywords within the paragraph.
Another strange creature that has developed ways to live happily ever after in his cave is the Olm.
Yeah, okay. You see some keywords, just whatever you see in there, just say it.
Live in underwater blackness.
Yeah.
They have snake bodies, dinky legs, and external red gills.
Okay. So they're talking about a specific one. Do you know the name of it from that first sentence?
The Olm.
It's a weird word, huh? But yes, this is talking about the Olm, OLM. That's what it's called. Olm. Really bizarre, but that's the name of it. Okay, so we got that. Good job. And then how about Zach? Read the first sentence and then pick out some keywords.
Feeding mainly on baits, cave-dwelling rats, snakes are found deep in caves and in Thailand and
Peninsular Malaysia. That's the
Malaysia.
yeah, very good. Okay. Now just kind of let your eyes go a little bit and pick out some keywords that you see in there.
Stay perpetually top of the food chain.
Yeah.
They're snakes indigenously. These reptiles from crevices.
It's hard not to read every word, but let your eyes skip some words there.
Lightning fast reflexes.
Okay. So it sounds like it's describing a troglobite. From that first sentence, can you tell what the name of it is?
Cave-dwelling rats and snakes.
Yeah, cave-dwelling rat snakes. That's what they're called. So let's circle that right here in that first sentence. Puppies. Cave-dwelling rat snakes. That's what that one's about. We're going to initial that one too because it's so long. We're going to call it CDRS for cave-dwelling rat snakes. CDRS. That's a C. There we go. CDRS. And make sure to circle it. See cave-dwelling rat snakes, just so we can remember the name of that one. All right, so that's the end of that first article. Now we need to write these down. These are possible topics that we're going to write about troglobites. So over here, On your paper, we're going to make this list. The first one is general. That was the first paragraph. And then we have WCCF, which was the waterfall climbing cave fish. Oh, yeah, and we're going to put A next to all of these. On the back, we had OM, A, and then C, D, R, S, and that's also in Article A. Those were the 4 paragraphs we just read about in the first article, Article A. And you know what? Something I forgot to do is at the very top of Article A, this one, troglobites and caves. I know there's an A here, but I do want you to actually just write in an A at the top. Come on, pen. Ay, ay, ay. That's A, capital A with a box. That way you're super organized. You know that A goes with A. Okay, that I like to do that just so that you know this article goes with this outline. All right. Hopefully you wrote down all your possible topics. And now we can move on to B, Article B. This time, as we're doing the skimming, we're going to do skimming again. We're going to look for maybe some of the same topics. I will give you a clue that there will be the same topics in this article. They might be in a different order, but we need to pay attention to that first sentence and then some keywords and then see if some of these match. Okay. So I'll do the first one and then Harmony, I'm going to have you do the second one here. So I'll do this first one. It says, a troglobite is an animal that spends its entire life in one particular cave. So already I can kind of tell it's introducing these troglobites. So I'm going to kind of skim through. I see troglobites again, special adaptations, survival, organs, weakened, strengthening, weakening, vibration detection, finding food, blackness, eyes, useless. So that's how I skim. I pick out just a few words here and there, and I can tell this one's more general. Again, it's introducing what these troglobites are. And so I'm going to still call this one general because it's not telling me any specific troglobite, but it is telling me what they are, like what type of an animal they are. So go ahead and at the top of that or next to that first paragraph, we'll call it general. General information, basically. So, and then Harmony, go ahead and read the first sentence of the next paragraph and a few key words as you find them, just a few of them, and then tell me what you think that paragraph is mostly about. So right here, you're still muted. There we go.
Peculiar pink elves are cave salamanders.
Salamanders, good. Okay.
Salamanders.
Yep.
They are completely aquatic.
Okay.
this
So
one.
yeah, I know it's going to be hard, but try not to read every word and just pick out some words. Let your eyes just kind of wander there.
Varying in length,
Okay.
weigh
Good.
up to 5 ounces,
Good. Good.
feast
Yep.
on insects,
Good.
direct detect prey chemically. They are blind.
Interesting. Good. That's enough, I think. What do you think that paragraph is about? Which one of the troglobites is it talking about? Can you tell from that first sentence? Yes, good. Awesome. So let's put Ulm on the side of that one. Very good. So like I said, you're going to start to see a pattern here, and you did good, Harmony, just skipping words. I know that's kind of a hard skill. I struggle with that too. It took me a while to figure out how to do that, but it'll help it go faster, finding out what these paragraphs are about. All right, so go ahead and turn the page to the back, and we're back to Christian. Go ahead and do the next one. And as soon as you think you know what this is about, you can stop and tell us what the paragraph is about.
The waterfall climbing cavefish. Another troglodyte has several strange characteristics, one of which is unique. Loss of eyes, skin coloration, develop radically different design, survival impressively, vertically scale waterfalls, fins, barb,
What
pelvic,
it's about yet? Can you tell?
waterfall climbing cavefish.
Yeah, waterfall climbing cavefish. There you go. And it's right here at the beginning. So circle that, waterfall climbing cavefish, and then we'll put WCCF. Let me see if I got another marker here. Yes, yes, I do. Switch into blue. WCCF. There we go. Now we can see it. Waterfall climbing cavefish. Okay. And next one, Grayson. Just do the first sentence and then kind of skim and see if you can figure out which one this one's about.
The cave is pitch black with night vision
That was a short first
goggles. You
sentence,
spotty
huh?
sights tail from the caves.
Yeah.
I think we're talking about a snake in this one
Okay.
because it said you spot a snake dangling by its tail from the cave stealing
Yeah.
venom.
Yes, good. And I see it right here.
Mhm.
Cave dwelling rat snake. So we can circle that. It's like the third or fourth sentence in. So that's the CDRS. CDRS. Good job. So as soon as you see it and you're like, yep, that's what they're talking about, what they eat, what they look like, how they live. Okay. CDRS for that. The cave dwelling rat snake. Oh, these guys are creepy. All right, so back to this. We did have a paragraph about general. This is Article B. We had one about the Ulm, and actually all of them. They're all the same in Article B. Okay. Zach, I think it's back to you on this one. So this is going to be the next article, Article C. Oh, yeah. Oops, I forgot something. Go back to B for a second. Put a B with a box up here. Forgot that part. We want to make sure it matches super clear like that. B and B. All right. Now, moving on to C. And this one here. Go ahead. We'll start by putting a C at the top. That way we don't forget. C with a box here, top of that one. And then efforts in cave dwelling is the name of this article, is page 133. So Zach, when you're ready, just read the first sentence, kind of do some skimming, pick out some words, and then tell me what you think this one's about.
All right. Remarkably adaptive troglodytes have morphed so they can live in dark, deep pit caves.
Yes, good.
Troglodytes are losers.
Yeah. Fun.
These abilities, eyesight is not helpful for them. Blind. Coloration does not benefit them.
Good.
Can't see each other. Feelers or fins.
Can you tell what it's about?
They make
Mostly.
up for not seeing with feelers or fins. Vibration detection. So it's pretty much just about freaking troglodytes.
Like generalized, general?
Yeah.
I think so too. because it's not talking about any specific one yet. So again, general. It's just kind of telling us about what these creatures are generally. And then back to you, Harmony, when you're ready for the next paragraph there, read the first sentence, do some skimming, and as soon as you know what it's about, you can tell us what you think the paragraph's about.
The cave dwelling rat snake exists in southern Thailand and peninsular Malaysia, which are countries in Southeast Asia near the island of Indonesia.
Good. Okay. Good.
Cave dwelling rat
Good. Oh, you already know. That was quick. You're right. It's right here. See, we see a pattern now. Cave dwelling rat snake. You're right. CDRS. Cave dwelling rat snake. Okay, a little more on the back. Christian, go ahead and do the next one.
Occasionally, after hard rain.
Oh, hold
This
on.
one-
You went too far. Hold on, hold on. Up here where it says surviving.
Oh,
That one.
surviving in a pitch black cave, waterfall climbing cavefish. It's about waterfall climbing cavefish.
Okay, you're like, that's it. Waterfall climbing cavefish. There we go. All right. They made it pretty easy for us on this one. CCF, WCCF. And then Grayson, when you're ready on that last one.
Occasionally, after hard rain, cave-dwelling salmon is called
Olms.
olms have been found in the well olms.
Okay, it's about Olms. Okay, so OLM. Good. Nice. It got a little easier. We saw the pattern after a minute there. So, and it looks like everything is in this article too for Article C. So we can go ahead and just add C here. C, C, C. This one was pretty straightforward. So we've got 4 possible topics, and all 4 of these topics are in all 4 of the articles, which is nice. Now, this report that you're going to do, what you're doing is summarizing multiple references. We have multiple. We have A, B, and C. So you're not going to tell everything. You're only telling some information. But this is going to be, let me double check here. This is going to be a 3-paragraph report. But this week we're focusing just on paragraph 1, okay? And for today, since we're going to start this one together, it's always a good idea to introduce the general information about something that you're talking about. So for troglobites, we're going to start with general. So you can circle that. That's going to be Roman numeral 1. And when you fill in the topic, which is next to the Roman numeral, we always start with the subject. That's the main part of what we're writing about, which is troglobites. So I'm going to put troglobites here, comma, and then I'm going to put general because these are my notes just to tell me, okay, I'm only focusing on the paragraphs that talk about the general information about troglobites. So put troglobites and general. For these over here for B, we can put T and then general. Put T general on the rest of them here. T general, because these are our notes, right? And then for the fused, we're going to put troglobites. And then I'm going to have you put a comma and then 2 blanks here. Because as you're looking at the general information about troglobites, you're going to decide what words could we put here next to troglobites on the fused outline that kind of describe generally what troglobites are? Does anybody have any ideas already of what two words we could put here next to troglobites? It kind of generalizes what kind of creatures they are. Grayson?
Unique and creepy.
Yes, unique and creepy. Those are both good words. Unique and creepy, you can use those words. Any other ideas on general, like what types of animals are they? Like it sounds like where do they live? I remember hearing that word cave a bunch of
Cave
times.
dwellers.
Yeah, cave dwellers. There you go. I kind of like that too. So you can say unique and creepy, or we can put maybe cave dwellers. Either one of those. All right. So now we got this set up and we're ready to go. So this is when we really look into those paragraphs. So let's just look at A first here. Go back to Article A, which was on page 129. And I erased mine, but you should have general right here next to that first paragraph. So now, since we have a little bit of time left, I'm going to read it this time, and you guys focus on finding some facts. Now, you can underline it if that helps you, underline the facts that are interesting to you, or you can just go straight to your outline here and start recording some keywords from this paragraph. Okay, it's up to you. The goal is 3 right here, 1, 2, 3. But if you find 4 and 5, you want to add those, that's okay too. So it's up to you, but you must have 3 at least. So I'm going to go ahead and read it. You focus on finding facts that stand out to you and start recording that on your outline. So it says, animals that have completely adapted to life in unending subterranean darkness are known as troglobites. Being born, living, and dying in a single cave, troglobites must remain there to exist. They cannot survive outside their cave. Typically, these odd creatures exhibit characteristics that aid in their survival. Because troglobites dwell in total blackness, they have underdeveloped eyes or no eyes at all. Many cave dwellers lack skin pigment because they do not need protection from the sun, which results in their bodies' whitish or sickly pinkish color. With little to eat except bats, plants that wash in from outside, bacteria, fungi, small insects, or visiting animals' droppings, most troglobites are small and have a slow metabolism. In 2015, biologists stated that over 7,000 species of troglobites have developed. Indeed, this number is not close to the maximum because troglobites might exist in caves that have not even been found yet. Okay, so while I was reading that, you can either underline as I read it the things that stand out to you that are interesting, or you can just go straight to your outline and start recording those facts. So hopefully you guys had a time to do that. How about I'm going to have you guys go through and each of you tell me one fact that you thought was interesting in that paragraph. So I'll start with Christian. What's one thing you found interesting in that paragraph?
Because they live in total darkness, they either have no eyes or their eyes are completely useless.
Crazy, huh? That's weird because there's nothing to see. So, okay, good. How about you, Grayson? What is something that you underlined or that you wrote down was
I
interesting?
wrote down 7,000 species have developed. That was really interesting. I didn't know there's that many.
Yeah, and that's not just like troglobites, but that's species. So yeah, there's more in each species. Very good. How about Zach? Did you find something interesting in that paragraph?
They can't go outside their cave.
They can't go outside their cave or they don't go outside of their cave. Good. And Harmony, did you find something else that's interesting in there?
No eyes at all.
No eyes at all. I've never heard of an animal with no eyes, but here we go. This is one of them. Okay, so your homework this week, and it sounds like most of you got A finished, which is great. You're going to do the same thing for B and C, and you're only going to focus on that first paragraph of each of those articles that talks about the general information about troglobites. So you're focusing only on the general for this one. And then after you get A, B, and C finished, you're going to pick your favorites and copy them from the top here, copy them down on the fused outline, okay? And remember, as you're writing down information, you need to group together similar facts. Like if you're going to talk about how they don't have any eyes, it would be good to talk about other parts of their body too, like what color they are and what their bodies look like. And then it did talk a little bit about um, adapting to their environment, things like that, camouflage. Group those things together so that when you go to write this paragraph, it flows. Okay, so try to keep that in mind as you're copying down from A, B, and C. So your job is to write your first paragraph. Now, there is something new on your checklist. Let's look at it super fast. We're going to talk more about this next week. But on your checklist, this is page 139. Notice you have a sentence opener. It's your first one. The good news is you know what these are because we already do it in grammar. So you're going to start one sentence in your paragraph with a prepositional opener. So there is a page that we're going to talk about next week, but if you need to look at that to help you, here's your list of prepositions on this tan page. This is page 137. So you can use this to help you, but one of your sentences has to start with one of these words. And the way to label it is like this right here, where there's a bracket and a to. Right before the sentence starts, you'll put a to with a bracket and then use one of these words to start. And like I said, we'll go over that more next week, but that's it for today. So you're going to finish up all your outlines and your fused and write one paragraph about troglobites, the general information. Okay. Good job, you guys. Have a good one. I'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good week.